College football Saturday. Hard to believe week 3 is here already. We got a very interesting matchup at the top of the schedule here. Wisconsin traveling to Alabama. You don't have to wait long. This game kicks off early at noon Eastern. I've got a free play with analysis for you coming up right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV. And Alabama opens about a 20.5-point favorite. As you check the odds logic screens, we get closer to the weekend. You see that a little bit of money's coming on Alabama. They're now minus 21 in most locations. Needless to say, 21 is a very key number, 3 touchdowns and extra points. And my 10,000 game simulation lands right on the number as well. Technically, Alabama by 21.5. So I think this point spread is spot on in this game. The question becomes not if Alabama's going to win. I think they will. But can they win by margin against what should be a pretty feisty Wisconsin team? But Wisconsin is traveling for the first time this season. And while Alabama didn't look very good in that Florida State opener, they did bounce back with authority, 73-0 against Louisiana Monroe last week. Balanced attack, over 500 yards of total offense. Now, obviously, they were a 34-point favorite, but still a 73-0 win tells me there was not a hangover. And Florida State put up over 70 points last week in their next game. So maybe the Seminoles are going to be a lot better than we realize. You know, last year, Florida State, after losing to Georgia Tech and scoring 21 in Ireland, scored 16 or less in their other 10 games against 1A opponents. They've almost scored the entire amount in just 2 games. So maybe that Florida State loss isn't looking as bad now. We will find out here in weeks to come. Wisconsin, meanwhile, 17-0 win against Miami of Ohio was not impressive. We had a strong best bet on the Badgers, as you recall, back in the opening weekend there on August 28th. And that 17-0 win was a non-cover as an 18-point favorite. What do you think the point spread record is? I should ask Ralph Michaels to run the numbers. When you shut out your opponent and don't cover, it has to be less than a 10% chance. Well, that hit us with Wisconsin. So needless to say, I'm a little bitter on the Badgers this season. But it wasn't a total fluke. Their offense was not good in that game. Only 165 rushing yards, only 188 passing yards. And then last week, Middle Tennessee, yes, they bounced back 42-10. But they still had only 173 rushing yards, had 2 turnovers. I think their offense might struggle a little bit here on the road in this game. Team total for Wisconsin might be worth a look. Now, a lot of sportsbooks still don't do team totals, but we're seeing it around 13.5. It's pretty low. Would have liked it more at 14 because the overall game total in this one is 46.5. And by the way, it hasn't moved all week. It's been holding steady. At 20.5, minus 21 or less, I lean Alabama. Once again, I project a 21.5-point win, but I think it might be more on their strong home field with momentum from the blowout win last week. And if Florida State turns out to be a little bit better than we all expected, that first week loss isn't looking quite as bad. And with the current playoff system, these teams, including Alabama, all know that they're not out of it yet because multiple teams make the postseason now. And also they haven't had a conference loss yet. Not that this is a conference game, but my point is they have plenty to play for. I'd rather have Alabama at minus 21 or less than this one at noon Eastern on Saturday. What are your thoughts on this game? Drop your comments below. We got a Badgers team that's only allowed 10 points all season. Now they're catching 21. It's a tough call, but I'd lean Bama on that strong SEC home field. What are your thoughts on this game, side or total? Drop your plays down below. Also include other games you like, maybe some under the radars, mid-major conferences, some FCS action. Include some analysis if you have time. Let's learn and earn and win together here on Wager Talk TV. And if you're finding these free play videos useful, all I ask is a thumbs up, like, and a positive comment below, and I will keep them coming. I've got tons of standalone college football videos for you for this Saturday here on the channel, and also my huge top 25 matchup video each and every week with the top 25 head-to-head matchups here. Some really good games this weekend on Saturday. So click subscribe and click that bell for an instant alert so you never miss out when free contents and videos are posted here on Wager Talk TV. By the way, on the way out, make sure you check my page on a daily basis, not only for my strong best bets, which go out to all my personal clients, but also for the bonus free play. You know, the last cut from my best bet card each and every day goes up as a free play. It's either baseball or football this time of year. A couple months from now, we'll have some basketball as well. Point is, you really, even if you're doing your own handicap and even if you're new to sports betting, go to my page daily to get the free play. It's up there right now with analysis. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And while you're there, check out some of the special offers. We've got a 30-day football special for just $199, college and pro combined, 30 days of football. Or if you like all sports, get the rest of the baseball season. Don't sleep on baseball, by the way. 57-28 finish to the baseball season last year. We've got about a month and a half to go still now. Basketball just a couple months away, about a month and a half away to be exact. Also have a buy 3 months, get the 4th month for free. That's right, buy 3, get 1 free. That's almost a $300 value for free with the 3 months plus one. That's a 4-month all sport, all access. That'll get you well in to the basketball season, get the rest of football, basically, the rest of baseball for sure. So once again, whether you want football only, the 1 month special, or the buy 3, get the 4th month free all sports, all access, check out the special offers, but most importantly, go check out that free play right now on my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, and get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. Don't forget to also follow me on social media. You see it on the bottom of the screen there, at Steve Merrill on X and Instagram, 2 R's, 1 L, MERRIL, at Steve Merrill on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to Wager Talk TV, because you know there's more free play videos coming up next.
I'm coming at you with not one, but 2 massive college football games in week 3. I'm going to give you the winning side for the backyard brawl, and I'm also going to give you the winning total in Clemson at Georgia Tech. Let's get it started in Morgantown, where college football game day had planned on visiting if both teams were 2-0, but the West Virginia Mountaineers failed to defeat the Ohio Bobcats last week, and game day will be going to Tennessee instead. Rich Rod brought over 80 new players in his first season with the Mountaineers. Most of those, or many of those, would have come from his Jacksonville State team that won the Conference USA last year. They're coming off a 17-10 loss to Ohio. Quarterback Nico Marchial threw for just 178 yards and an interception, 15 of 26 passing. That ain't going to cut it. So can they run the ball? Well, against the Ohio Bobcats of the MAC, 28 carries for 72 yards, averaging just 2.6 yards per carry. You think that's going to cut it against Pitt? Because I don't. Ohio, meanwhile, they ran all over West Virginia, 182 yards on 48 carries. West Virginia won the turnover battle 3-1 and still lost the game. That might be the most telling stat from last week for West Virginia, is the fact that they won the turnover battle and still didn't manage to win the game. Pitt, they were 7-6 last year. They ranked 27th in the nation in returning production. But as always, it's not just bringing guys back, it's who you're bringing back. And they're bringing back Eli Holstein, the quarterback. He had a big year last year. He's thrown for 519 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 2 picks on 71% passing so far during a 2-0 start. They're also bringing back their leading rusher, Desmond Reed, who ran for 966 yards, 5 touchdowns last year. And Desmond Reed, also the second leading receiver last year with almost 600 yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. Pitt looks like a wagon. And even though it's on the road at Morgantown, and I respect this home crowd for West Virginia, this isn't really a Big 12 West Virginia team. Pitt's really playing the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, in my opinion, this week. Rich Rod brought his guys over from his former team. He hasn't molded this team into a serious contender in the Big 12 as of yet. And I don't expect the Jacksonville State / West Virginia team to be able to compete here against a Pitt team that's just got more talent and more cohesion. So we're going to lay the 7 points with the Pitt Panthers in the backyard brawl. Before we talk about Clemson at Georgia Tech, I got to tell you about a promotion we have available right now at WagerTalk.com. And I can't believe they're giving it away for $49. The entire weekend of football, only $49. That's Saturday and Sunday, pro and college football. And then they're going to throw in Monday for free as well. There's no way I would give this to you, but I'm not the boss. By the way, I was perfect last week with my football plays, 5-0 with college and pro football. We only had one college play last week, and that was on Oklahoma. And the previous week, we didn't do as well as we liked, but we ended the week with a 5% play on the under in the Catholics versus Convicts matchup. So we're firing on all cylinders with our football plays. You can find me at wt.buzz/JS. And if you've got anything to say about these games or any other college games this week, even the NFL, hit me up in the comments below. And if you don't mind, take the time to smash the like button as well. Now let's talk about Clemson at Georgia Tech. So I was big on Clemson opening the season as the team leading the nation in returning production. They were impressive at the end of the year last year. Cade Klubnik put up video game numbers in some of his games. And then they lay an egg at home against LSU, losing 17-10 in week 1. And it gets worse from there because last week they were trailing Troy 16-3 at home at the half. And the LSU team that they had just lost to didn't look very good either. Cade Klubnik, he's thrown for 426 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks on less than 60% passing. He doesn't look sharp. But Clemson fans can rest easy because they're 7-2-1 against the spread in the last 10 versus Georgia Tech, and the over has gone 6-4 in the last 10 meetings. Georgia Tech, on the other hand, they've done everything that's been asked of them. They beat Colorado on the road in week 1. Then they rested Haynes King, which I think is very key. A healthy Haynes King is a rare commodity, and we didn't see that a lot last year. When healthy, this kid is lights out. Jamal Haynes, also Georgia Tech, bringing back a ton of production. Very competitive team at home. Man, I would love to have Georgia Tech plus the points on the opening line, but it's been bet down. I'd still lean dog here, but actually, scratch that. Let's just focus on the play. It's the total. We're going under 54.5 in this game. And, Georgia Tech, very good, very competitive, but they like to run the ball. And as bad as Clemson's looked, it's not like they're getting run on. It's their weakness appears to be against the pass. They have a very strong defensive line. I think it's going to be hard for Georgia Tech to have a lot of success in the run game. I just think 54.5 is too big a number in this matchup. I think Georgia Tech will hold their own. Clemson's offense has not looked very good. And Georgia Tech, as good as they've looked, they're stepping up in competition here. In fact, the spread has been bet down. The favorite has been bet down. The total has been bet up. And I think I disagree with that line move. So we're taking Pitt minus the 7, under 54.5 in Georgia Tech versus Clemson. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you've got anything to say to me, even if it's nasty, hit me up in the comments below and I will get back to you as soon as I can.
The Georgia Bulldogs, 0-2 against the spread to open the season, 2-0 to the under. 2 unders, 2 non-covers for Georgia to begin the 2025 campaign. The Tennessee Volunteers, the exact opposite. 2-0 against the spread and 2-0 to the over so far this season. So both teams 2-0 straight up, but one team 2 covers, 2 overs. The other team no covers, no overs. How does it play out when these two teams meet on Saturday? Let's talk about it. Teddy covers from WagerTalk.com with a big game breakdown for Tennessee and Georgia. Look at the Odds Logic live odds screen. It's been all Tennessee money. This line opened as high as 6.5. It was 5.5 on Sunday night. Now I'm looking at 3.5 on the live odds screen right now. Total sitting 49.5/50. Really hasn't moved very much from the opener, but the side has been nothing but volunteer money, at least early on. When we talk about the teams that Georgia didn't cover against, they were laying 45.5, they were laying 38.5, They won 45-7 and 28-6. Not like they were tested in either contest, but they haven't won by enough of a margin. Now, they did lose to Notre Dame the last time they stepped up in class in January. They lost at Ole Miss the last time they were road chalk in SEC play. And remember, they were dogs versus Texas in the SEC championship game last year, and that game at the neutral site was in Atlanta. They had a pretty good crowd support. But Kirby Smart versus Josh Heupel, Kirby Smart versus Tennessee, it's been a very one-sided series. I'm going to read off these final scores. 31-17, 38-10, 27-13, 41-17, 44-21, 43-14, 38-12, 41-0. That's not just 8 straight wins. That's 8 straight double-digit wins, all of them by 2 touchdowns or more. The only point spread Tennessee covered during the last 8 years of this rivalry, when they were plus 30.5. They lost by 26 in 2018. And this ain't 30.5, it's 3.5 here. Since 2021, since November 2021, the Vols 23-1 straight up at Neyland Stadium. The only loss, you know who it came to Georgia. So for Heupel and Tennessee to say, all right, we're legit contenders, they got to beat this team. They have to solve Kirby Smart's defense. And again, look at what Tennessee scored in those games. 17, 10, 13, 17, 21, 14, 12, and 0. It's been the offense and the defense, both of which have been a little bit too much. And you look at Heupel, versus everyone that's not Georgia, 39 points a game. Versus Georgia, 14. 478 yards a game versus 316. And passing, rushing, it's been extremely one-sided. And of course, you're playing against arguably the best program in college football. One of the best programs in college football over the last, since Kirby Smart got there, certainly over the last 5-10 years. Georgia, if you're making a list of the best programs in the game, Georgia's going to be at or near the top. But what do we do with it from a betting standpoint? Before I go any further, I do want to ask you guys one simple favor. If you like this type of breakdown, please hit that like button. Boom, done. Thank you. Comment below. Tell us what you think. It's okay if you disagree with me. I won't be mad at you. It's a comment. Tell us what below. And this isn't like a big play for me. It's an opinion. So it's okay if you disagree with me on this one. And of course, follow the WagerTalk TV YouTube channel. We have well over 200,000 of you have already followed. You get instant alerts every time videos like this go live. So like, comment, follow. Check out my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. Got a great offer this week only. Real simple. 7 days all access. Every play, every day, every sport, all NFL, all college football, all MLB. The 3 sports I'm doing right now. All 5% big tickets included. Every play, every day. $69. Less than $10 a day. Real simple. Just use promo code Teddy69 at checkout. Teddy69 at checkout to take advantage of this all access pass offer. All right. So it's been a one-sided series. That doesn't mean anything when it comes to this year if the two teams are different. Are they different? I'm not convinced that they are. I didn't come into this season going, wow, this is the year Tennessee's going to beat Georgia. Wow, this is the year that Tennessee is significantly improved from where they've been. Now, certainly, we've seen Aguilar play well in his first couple of games as the Vols starting quarterback. In his first couple of quarterbacks, come on, Ted. All right. In his first couple of games as the Vols starting quarterback, we've seen Aguilar well. But again, lesser competition. Syracuse, East Tennessee State. I do have my concerns about whether the Vols offensive line is going to hold up against Georgia's defensive front. I really do. All right. And if you ask me, what's the best way to play this game? I'm looking under. All right. I really am. I'm not convinced that Tennessee this year, with this quarterback, is going to be able to solve the Georgia defense any better than any of these other teams have been able to do. Now, there are some questions about Georgia offensively. Sure. And I think the Vols defense may be a little bit better than it's been in years past. But I don't want the dog here, all right? It's they got to prove it, and they haven't proved it. And we're getting a cheap price on a Georgia team. No, they haven't been as impressive as they should have. Well, they're probably keeping things off film to prepare for this ball game. So I lean Georgia. I lean under. I do not want the Vols. I do not want the over in this one. So take it for what it's worth. It's another game where one of the true elite programs in college football continues on their way to another playoff appearance. That would be the Georgia Bulldogs. So Georgia minus and under 49.5 is how I look to play Georgia Tennessee on Saturday afternoon. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate those likes, comments, and follows very, very much. Best of luck with all your bets. Check out my homepage, wt.buzz/TC, or just visit the website, WagerTalk.com. Cheers. Have a great Saturday.
Huge matchup in the SEC this Saturday afternoon at 3:30 Eastern. We've got Georgia and Tennessee. It's a big one, and I do think there's value in this game. Free play with analysis coming up right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV. We got the orange graphics, the orange WagerTalk logo, and I guess it was meant to be because I'm leaning towards the orange team in this game. Tennessee, a live home dog, plus the 3.5 to 4 points on Saturday afternoon. There's a few reasons why. First, let's talk about the line value. As you know, every week I run a 10,000 game simulation for every FBS game on the board, And on average, I've got Tennessee winning this game outright by over 2 points. So I think the wrong team is favored in this one. And the early betting money agrees. The sharp money agrees. Georgia opened as high as a 6.5-point road favorite earlier this week. So I do this video heading into the weekend. It's now 3.5, 4. Not even many fours out there, mostly 3.5s. But 3 is such a key number in college and pro football that at plus 3.5 or more, there is still value despite that field goal line move lower on Tennessee. Because once again, I've got them winning this game outright by over 2 points on average. I also run offensive and defensive ratings, and they update those each week throughout the season. And I have both of these defenses in the top 10. These are 2 top 10 defensive units according to my ratings. And both offenses actually top 20, but not even top 10. So I think both defenses hold the edge in this game as well. So the under could be worth a look. I know it's always tough to pull the trigger with an under with the Tennessee game. They've been so explosive here in recent years. But right now the total's sitting at 49.5. We've seen very little movement on this total this week, maybe a 50 at some of the more outlying books. But I think there is value with the under in this game. You know, Georgia's first game against Marshall landed 52, second game just 34. Now, Tennessee has had 2 high-scoring games against Syracuse and East Tennessee State. A little bit of a concern when they gave up the 26 points to Syracuse. But their offense is explosive, no question about it, once again this season. But the defense for Georgia is always elite. I think the under 49.5 has some value here as well. But once again, Tennessee plus the 3.5, a live home dog based on my ratings in the matchup here. 2 evenly matched teams. I think the wrong team is favored. Take a look at the balls, plus the 3.5 at 3:30 Eastern Saturday afternoon in the SEC. I've got a ton of other free play videos. We're keeping them short, concise for you because there's a ton of action this weekend. Check out my other previews. Did Wisconsin, Alabama as well, an early kickoff for Saturday. Of course, my top 25 video have all the big games, including this one. Deep dive into all the top 25 matchups here for week 3 as well. So click the bell when you subscribe here to WagerTalk TV so you never miss out when a video is posted. And if you're liking the free play videos, thumbs up, like, positive comment below, and I will keep them coming. That's all I ask is a thumbs up, like, and a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this game and the other plays you like this week as well in college football. Hey, drop some analysis if you have time. Let's learn and earn and win together here on WagerTalk TV. Don't forget also my NFL Fade the Public video will be up this weekend along with some NFL solo videos, including the Sunday and Monday night games. Yet another reason to click that bell when you subscribe on WagerTalk TV. Also, free plays on my page every day. You know, I give you a lot of content in these videos, but my strongest free play, literally my strongest remaining opinion, the last cut from my best bet card is the one that goes up on my homepage every day at WagerTalk.com. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. I average 2 to 3 best bets per day in all sports. I'm very selective, which means that last cut is a pretty strong opinion still. I put it up for free for everybody with analysis. So check out today's free play right now on my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And while you're there, check out some very special offers also. No promo codes required for these. 30 days of football, instant $100 discount for 30 days of college and pro football combined. Or if you want baseball and football, and by the way, don't sleep on baseball. Finished last year's baseball season on an incredible 57-28 run through the playoffs into the World Series. So there's plenty of action, plenty of value left for this next month and a half of baseball. College and pro basketball just about a month and a half away. I mentioned that because right now we have a buy 3 months, get the 4th month for free. That's a $300 value for free. Buy 3 months, get the 4th month for free. All sports, all access. So whether you want 1 month of football with the instant $100 discount or the buy 3 months, all sports, get the 4th for free. They're on my page right now. No promo code needed. So check out the daily free play and check out the special offers and get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. On the way out, don't forget to follow me on social media on X and Instagram. You see it in the bottom corner of your screen there at Steve Merrill, 2 R's, 1 L, MERRIL at Steve Merrill on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to WagerTalk TV because you know there's more free play videos coming up next.
This USF team, they were kind of the stars of week 1, and maybe not a fluke here anymore. So what's your breakdown on this game?
Well, normally, Andy, when I have these type of games, and I refer to them as big brother versus little brother, you have an in-state battle where, obviously the little brother's going to try really hard. They want to take the thunder away from, the bigger teams in the state. I would be looking to take South Florida. However, we've got a unique situation here and especially there was a caveat to this. Look at who Miami plays next week. You want to talk about, this would be a great look ahead spot. They play Florida next week. So easy to look past South Florida. But, let's give a little shout out to Lee Corso. Not so fast, my friend, because Miami got put on notice. South Florida beat Florida last week. Now, if they wouldn't have done that, this would have been an easy look-ahead spot. Because they did pull that upset last week, Miami of Florida is not going to look past them, okay? They're going to come prepared, ready to play South Florida. And you're asking South Florida now not only to step it up and go out on the road for a second week in a row against another big brother. You played Florida last week and beat him. Now you're playing Miami of Florida. This is their third straight game that they're playing a top 25 team. If you remember, in the first week, they played Boise State, and I think that game was either on a Thursday or a Friday night. So, it was a TV game, standalone. You had a lot of tension on you. This team right now, can they get it up for a third week in a row? I don't think so. And I know we don't like laying points with Miami of Florida. We've seen them blow some big leads last year. But let's look at the offense. Everybody was going to question what was going to happen. Cam Ward gone, number 1 draft pick. Carson Beck, and, we had a lot of speculation which Carson Beck was going to show up at Miami. Was it going to be the Carson Beck we saw 2 years ago or the Carson Beck that we saw last year? So far, it looks like 2 years ago, Carson Beck. He's playing well. Now, granted, one was against a good team, Notre Dame. The other one, well, not so much. You played a cupcake in Bethune-Cookman. But I like what I've seen so far. They haven't turned the football over. They're playing balanced football, running the football, passing the football. I think they get the job done here. Now, we have seen this line move a tad. It was sitting at 17 for a good part of the week. We got to lay that extra hook now with them. But I just can't take South Florida in this particular matchup. It is Miami or pass for me. I've got the game Miami 41-17. I'll go ahead and lay the 17.5.
Wow. You're predicting an ass kicking, not just a little win. Wow, a full blown blowout. All right.
This weekend is the big weekend. It's the 49 Weekend Warrior. Now that Weekend Warrior pass, you get all the football Saturday and Sunday, and you get free Monday Night Football for any of the cappers that have a Monday Night Football play as a bonus. With that, I am going to have a 5% play over the weekend. It'll be my first 5% this football season. And guys, last 19 months, I don't release a ton of them. We're 31-13 over 19 months with our 5% plays. We've got that up. So head on over to WagerTalk. And not only for me for the $49 deal, it's a site-wide special. You can pick up any your favorite cappers for $49. And quick shout out, yes, check out Bet On It, the College and Pro Edition. And selfless plug for myself, check out Marco's Deli. We have that. We had the first edition of that show last week. We went 4-1. We give you some of the games that didn't make Bet On It with my sandwich plays, my trap games, and things like that. You can check it out. We've got 5 more free plays in this week's Marco's Deli. That's available on our YouTube channel.
The early week money has come against Ohio State at the Horseshoe. We've seen money for the Bobcats, the Ohio U Bobcats, and the under. Is it warranted? Let's talk about it. Teddy covers, WagerTalk.com with a big game breakdown. Ohio versus Ohio. Ohio State versus Ohio U. Right now, looking at my Odds Logic live odds screen, I'm seeing 31.5, the prevailing number here for Ohio State at home. 52 the total. There are some 52s and a halves out there, but more 51 and a halves really if we're talking about variance off that total of 52. So we'll talk 31.5, 52 as the current numbers as I record this video. And we do have an Ohio U team they played well in early season play. Certainly played well last week. Knocked off West Virginia. Hard-fought defensive battle at home. They held on for the victory. Head coach Brian Smith, quote, "The game's a great reflection of the coaching staff we have, the job they do mentoring and developing our players, for the respect everyone has for the culture here that's been built for a long time. I'm really proud of the group and the staff." Yeah. Are they fat and happy going into Columbus? Maybe a little bit. Are they confident enough to hang around for a while? That's the question mark. So, what do we do? It starts with this, all right? Because this, to me, is if Ohio State puts their foot down, Ohio State wins and covers. If Ohio State's focused for 60 minutes, Ohio State wins and covers. But it's a tricky spot for the Buckeyes. Really is. They beat Texas week 1. Huge game. Last week, what they have? 70-0 against Grambling State. Now they're playing the little sister in state. They've done very well with these games against the spread in recent years and throughout the Ryan Day era. But you're off a huge game and then a blowout next week for Ohio State, bye week. And then the Big Ten schedule comes. And when I see this type of a spot, I get concerned about laying a big price, and so do the markets. That's why the money's come for all the Bobcats. Obviously, Ohio U has a good defensive profile. We're not expecting them to march up and down the field against the Buckeyes. They didn't march up and down the field against West Virginia last week. So it's not a game where I'm anticipating the Bobcats offense to be clicking on all cylinders. The question is the focus level for Ohio State, especially after halftime, because we're talking about a point spread in this range. You need a team that's focused for 60 minutes if you're going to cover, or pretty close to 60 minutes. And you see it happen all the time. You play the big game, then you have a blowout, then you have a bye the next week, and in between it's not a game they're not interested in. I expect Ohio State to get out to a lead, and then I expect them to sit on that lead. And you see a lot of flat efforts second half of these games with the bye on deck. That's worrisome for me. These are spots where teams do let down. They do lose their focus. And it's not like you're getting a whole lot of bargains betting the Buckeyes right now. This team is a significant betting bandwagon. 6-0 straight up, 6-0 against the spread since the start of the playoffs last year, after losing since they lost to the Wolverines, since they lost to Michigan in the regular season finale. We're talking about the reigning national champs coming off a 70-0 win, clicking on all cylinders, and yet the money's coming against them. So there's a clear sharp score divide in this game. The sharp's all over the dog and the under. Before I talk about this game a little bit more, I do want to let you know about what's going on right now at WagerTalk.com. We appreciate all of your support. And I know some of you guys are pick buyers, some of you aren't. It's okay. Nobody's mad at you if you're not buying picks. If you're interested, we have a great deal going this week only. Teddy 69 at checkout is going to get you 7 days all access. Every play, every day, every sport. You get my NFL, college football, MLB. Those are 3 sports I'm doing right now. That includes all 5% big tickets. There is nothing more to buy. There's no bait and switch nonsense. Just use promo code Teddy69 at checkout and get that $69 all access pass, less than $10 a day, every play, every day, in every sport. We also really appreciate the likes, the comments, the follows. Makes all the difference. So like, comment, follow. Thank you. Ohio U is the type of team that, in general, we like as a defensive underdog. You know, the pedigree's there. They're certainly interested, but they're outclassed. They're badly outclassed. I do not trust this offense to move the football against that elite Ohio State defense. We have an Ohio State team that I'm worried about losing focus in the second half. So from a how am I going to bet this perspective, it's simple for me. If I'm playing the Buckeyes, it's only first half. They're minus 19 and a half first half, and I would consider that. But I think the better bet here is the under. And we've seen the markets already move to the under, opened as high as, 54 and a half. Now we're looking at 52s. I agree with that move. And you know what? I understand we're not getting the best of the number here. But at current numbers, I'd still play the under. I'm not sure Ohio State's going to be moving up and down the field for 4 quarters. I'm not sure Ohio U is going to be able to do anything offensively. And you put that together, feels like a 38-7 type of game, 41-3. That puts me under or pass as the best bet for the Buckeyes and the Bobcats. Thank you so much for watching Wager Talk TV. Appreciate those likes, comments, and follows very, very much. Again, Teddy69 at checkout is going to get you 7-day all access, every play, every day, every sport. And best of luck this weekend. Hope you guys slay them. Cheers.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wager Talk TV. I'm Ross the Boss Benjamin of WagerTalk.com. Before we talk anything football, which we're going to be talking Texas A&M and Notre Dame today, my thoughts and prayers go out to all the people who were affected by the tragic events of 9/11. And also prayers go out to the families that lost loved ones in that tragic day. And also, God rest his soul
and God bless the souls of all those who perished on that day. So I think that we have to put things in perspective, and that was a day that affected all of us in this country, and I'm sure each one of you remember exactly where you were at that time when that event occurred. Okay, let's get to the meat and potatoes. We're going to be talking about Texas A&M at Notre Dame, number 16 Texas A&M at number 8 Notre Dame, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, nationally televised by NBC. And right now, Notre Dame is a 6.5-point home favorite. Before I get to my analysis, real quickly, folks, if you could hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of your page, it's absolutely free to do so. You'll be privy to some of the best sports betting experts in all the world right here on WagerTalk TV. That's not bragging, folks. That's fact. Also, be kind enough to hit the like button for me. It goes a long way in showing a token of appreciation for the time, work, and effort that I put into bringing you a quality free pick video each and every day. And it keeps the folks over at WagerTalk TV happy with me, and I'm trying to make you happy on a daily basis as well. So hit that like button, folks. Just a small ask. By the way, subscribing to our YouTube channel, it's absolutely free. So I don't know what the hesitation would be, but hit that subscribe button and then hit that alert notification bell, and you'll be prompted every time something goes up on our great channel, okay? All right, also, whoever you like in week 3 of the college football season, let us know in the comments section. What's your best bets? Which do you have a series of games you like? Leave those comments or picks in the comments section. And again, folks, we're not going to agree all the time. You may not agree with me. I may not agree with you. You may not agree with other people who post their comments. However, keep it respectful. Don't be demeaning just because we disagree. This happens in the world of sports betting, as we all know. We don't have to attack each other. We don't have to be disrespectful. We don't have to be vulgar. And for those of you who do that, you'll get one warning, and after that, you'll be removed from your ability to comment. So let's keep it a positive community, all right? All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes. Texas A&M at Notre Dame. A&M starts out the season 2-0, but they really didn't wow me in either win. 42-24 over UTSA, and then last week, 44-22 over Utah State. They didn't come close to covering in each game, as they were extremely big favorite in the 30s. This is a Texas A&M team that's had their fair share of struggles on the road. As a matter of fact, the Aggies are 2-12 straight up and 2-11-1 against the spread in their last 14 away games. And that includes 0-5 straight up and 0-4-1 against the spread as an away underdog of 11 or less. Now, on a positive note, the 2 wins did occur with Mike Elko in charge. So there's a little positive there, but you still can't ignore the Aggies' woes on the road in recent seasons. Notre Dame opened with a heartbreaking 27-24 loss at Miami, failing to cover as a 1.5-point underdog. Last week was a bye week for the Fighting Irish. And Notre Dame, by the way, 6-0 straight up in ATS since 2021 in regular season games coming off a bye week. So they've done very good in this situation over the past 3 seasons. Not only did they win and cover all 6 of those games, they outscored the opposition by 33.8 points per game. Notre Dame is also 5-0 straight up in ATS in their last 5, coming off a loss when Marcus Freeman is their head coach. So since Marcus Freeman took over, he lost his first 2 games, but the Fighting Irish have been very good off a loss, and over the last 5 under Marcus Freeman, coming off a loss again. 5-0 straight up in ATS. Not only that, it wasn't like they were playing cream puffs, because they were only an average favorite of minus 8.8 in those 5 games, and they won by an average of 27.8 points per game. C.J. Carr seemed to hold his own in his first ever collegiate start. The redshirt freshman should be much better in the second start at home. should be a little more calming for him. I mean, again, he got thrown into the fire in a very tough environment at Miami, and I thought he performed very well. So I like Notre Dame here. I think the Fighting Irish off a bye week, they've done very good. Texas A&M, I'm not sold on them after watching them in the first two games. And I think Notre Dame off a loss, and they're at home, and their home opener is going to come out with a vengeance. I like Notre, and don't forget Notre Dame defeated Texas A&M last year on the road with Mike Elko there. So I like Notre Dame here, -6.5 over Texas A&M. Don't forget, folks, we got some friendly reminders on bonuses. Weekend Warrior package this weekend, $49. All college football and NFL picks for just $49. So take advantage of that offer. Also, folks, 30-day all-access pass in college football, NFL combined. So all football plays for $199 for the next 30 days. It's a limited time offer. Take advantage of those offers, as well as the final offer, which I don't have it in front of me. But in any event, folks, take advantage. Check out my page, wt.buzz/RB, wt.buzz/RB, and take advantage of those offers. Reminding you again, college football, since the start of the 2023 seasons, I'm number one overall in college football during those 2+ seasons. In units earned last year, number one in win percentage, and also number one in units earned. I have 4 college football picks up for sale right now at wt.buzz/RB or wagertalk.com, including a 5% best bet. And folks, last week I cashed in with my 5% best bet on Oklahoma, -5 as they won by 11 at home over Michigan in week 1. I went with LSU +4.5. They won outright at Clemson, 17-10. So a nice 2-0 start so far with my 5% best bets, and another one coming on Saturday, and that game kicks off after 3 p.m. Eastern time. So take advantage of it all, folks. wt.buzz/RB. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Until the next time, for Wager Talk TV and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless.
One. We have 2 huge college football games, both on Saturday night, both at 7:30 Eastern, both on national TV. I'm going to give you free plays and analysis in both games as well, coming up right here, right now. Florida LSU, Texas A&M, and Notre Dame. Hi, this is Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, right back here on Wager Talk TV. And let's start with the first game at 7:30 Eastern. Well, they're both at the same time, but we'll go in the betting rotation order. They're right next to each other. Florida at LSU, number 3 ranked LSU at 7:30 Eastern on ABC. And the early money is actually coming on the Gators this week. This line opened around 9.5, and it's now down to 7.5. Even money. We might see some 7s. If you like the Gators, and by the way, I'm doing this video on Thursday evening for you. Line is still 7.5 across the board at Odds Logic. If you like Florida, grab the +7.5. If you like LSU, I would hold off and wait. You might get a -7 by kickoff on Saturday night. The risk reward is obviously worth waiting on that key number. 10,000 game simulation. I run it every week for every FBS game on the board, and I was a little surprised. It came out with LSU by 10.5 points on average, over 10 points. So if this line does drop to -7 or less, I lean LSU in this one. It's a tough call because Florida looked so bad last week. You almost want to play that contrarian angle and come back with them now after their loss to South Florida. South Florida acted like they'd won the Super Bowl, but Florida's got some issues. I think the coach is on the hot seat as well, and I'm not so sure they bounce back this week if they're tight, nervous, and playing not to lose. I'd lean LSU if it gets down to -7 or less by Saturday night. Keep an eye on this line, though. It's a very key number. And once again, my projections have LSU winning by over 10 points on average. Gators last week, about 330, 340 yards total offense. So a little bit better than the 16 points showed. And Clemson, of course, the LSU-Clemson game, 17-10. And then last week, really jumps out to you when LSU only scored 23 points, 23-7 lackluster win against Louisiana Tech as a 36-point favorite. So understandable that the sharp money has come in on the under in this game. In fact, that's where the sharpest money has come. We've seen a little bit of move on Florida, and that's probably correlated to the under. As Florida, the over-under opened 51.5. It's now down to 48.5, even some 47.5s out there. So we have seen some sharp money coming on the under this one between Florida and LSU. And it's hard to disagree. Both offenses did not look good last week. And now they have to turn around and play a much better defensive opponent this week. That game at 7:30 Eastern. Your other game also at 7:30 Eastern, the bigger matchup, a top 25, really a top 20 matchup, is number 16 Texas A&M at number 8 Notre Dame on NBC and Peacock Network. Notre Dame, tough loss in week 1, of course. Tough loss last year in the national title game. And boy, it's amazing that whether it's the NFL with the Super Bowl loser or college football with the national championship loser. Remember TCU a couple years ago, losing record. Washington, losing record last year. Could Notre Dame be that team that falls flat this year? I do think the Irish probably regress this season. I'm not going to go so far to say they'll have a losing record. But if you recall in the free play video 2 weeks ago, I gave you Miami of Florida as a live home dog in that Sunday night game. And Miami delivered 27-24. Notre Dame, a 2-0 turnover disadvantage, obviously hurt them in that game because the yardage was pretty much equal. And they also had a bye last week. Bye probably came in a pretty good time to recover from that Miami loss. And as we've seen with some other teams that lost in week 1, they bounced back last week. Now, obviously, some of those teams are playing cupcakes, especially those SEC teams like Alabama, for example. But these teams know their season's not over yet. It's not like the past where that one loss would devastate you. You can get in with a couple losses even now. Now, Notre Dame doesn't have the luxury of being in a high-profile conference to do it, so they'd probably maybe have to run the table. But they've been in this spot before, and I think this is a focused spot. And I like the fact that they have the extra preparation time to prepare for a tough opponent in Texas A&M. Meanwhile, A&M has to travel after 2 home wins, but lackluster home wins. They won straight up in both, but failed to cover both as big favorites. A little bit of a red flag against Texas San Antonio. The Roadrunners beat. They only beat them by 18 points as over a 3-touchdown favorite. And then against the Aggies of Utah State last week, only beat them by 22 as a 5-touchdown favorite, laying 35. Big step up in class here for A&M. So let's look at my projection, my game ratings. 10,000 game simulation on average has Notre Dame winning by almost 10 points in this one, just like LSU. LSU, Notre Dame, both by about 10. So I do think the favorites have some line value. And this line is currently sitting at 6.5 across the board. Very little movement this week. It opened 6.5, still sitting 6.5. So it's 7 or less. I lean towards the Irish. I'm not huge on them overall this season, but this looks like a pretty good bounce back spot for them after the bye last week, after the Miami of Florida loss. By the way, this is a rematch. These teams played on August 31st opening weekend. If you recall last year, A&M lost that game at home 23-13, but they actually had a 3.6 to 3.0 yards per play advantage. Both offenses were terrible last year in that game. Neither one got to 250 yards, so we'll see if that's the case again in this one. As far as the total in this one, I talked about the heavy money coming in the under in the previous game, the LSU and Florida game. This total opened 48.5. We've actually seen some money coming on the over up to 49.5, which is interesting since it was such a low-scoring game last year when these teams played in week 1. All right, there you go. Breakdown of 2 of your spotlight 7:30 Eastern national TV games on Saturday night. Hey, comment below. Do you like either side or total in these games? What other college football plays do you like this weekend? Drop some analysis as well. Let's learn and earn and win together here on WagerTalk TV. And I just gave you a preview of that Texas A&M Notre Dame game, but if you want to deep dive into that one and all the other head-to-head top 25 matchups, be sure to check out my college football top 25 video each and every weekend here on the channel, and also my NFL Fade the Public video, which goes up this weekend as well for week 2 in the NFL. By the way, Fade the Public last week went 4-2, half a point away from 5-1. So Public didn't do too well in week 1. We'll look if we fade or play with them in week 2. That is available this weekend. Also, free play videos for the Sunday and Monday night NFL games this weekend as well. So click subscribe and click that bell for an instant alert so you never miss out on free play videos here like this one on WagerTalk TV. By the way, if you like free plays, I post a bonus free play on my homepage at WagerTalk each and every day. And that is seriously my strongest free play each and every day because it's the last cut from my best bet card. I average maybe 2 to 3 best bets for my clients each and every day at wagertalk.com. Same games I'm personally using. I've done it that way since I started in August of 1996, over 29 years now. If I have a best bet, I send it to all my clients. And the last cut from the best bet card is still a pretty strong opinion. I put it up for free for everybody. So go check out the free play right now on my page, stevemerrillwagertalk.com. And while you're there, check out some special offers. If you're thinking about my best bet service, now's the time to get on board. We've got a 30-day, 1-month football package with an instant $100 discount. 30 days of college and pro football for an instant $100 off. No promo code needed. Or if you want to get all sports, got a month and a half left of baseball. And don't forget, last year I finished baseball on a 57-28 winning run through the World Series. College and pro basketball starts in about a month and a half as well. NBA's, I think, October 21st. College hoops about less than 2 months away. Right now, if you buy 3 months of all sports, you get the 4th month for free. That's an instant $300 discount on the 4-month package. So once again, buy 3, get the 4th month free. So if you want football only, check out the 30-day special with the $100 discount. Or if you want all sports, all access, college and pro football, basketball, baseball, buy 3 months, get the 4th month for free. No promo codes needed. Details are on my page right now. Check them out. Figure out which one works best for you. And while you're there, check out the daily free play. Make it a daily habit to go to my page to get that bonus free play with analysis. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And hey, get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. On the way out, don't forget to follow me on social media at Steve Merrill. You see at the bottom corner of your screen there, 2 R's, 1 L, MERRIL, at Steve Merrill on X and Instagram. And once again, if you're liking these free play videos, all I ask is a quick thumbs up, like, boom, smash it. And a positive comment below, and I will keep them coming because you know there's more free play videos coming up next right here on Wager Talk TV.
Talking about teams with not a lot of confidence. LSU's -7.5 against this Florida Gators team. Over under set at 45.5. What's your breakdown on this one?
So again, when we're talking about this price range for LSU against Florida, the most basic concept in college football and across sports: buy low, sell high. All right. And it's a Florida team. We all know what happened. They lost at home to USF. They didn't play well. Clearly, given the circumstance, given the results, Florida was looking ahead to this week. It happens, you know. And when we're thinking about the concepts of how to bet college football, I'm always looking to bet on a team in a step-up game after they just played poorly in a step-down game that oftentimes serves as something of a wake-up call. And certainly, you know, DJ Lagway had a bad week last week, you know, bad interception in the third quarter. He's been good, and Napier's been good. Napier's best role is road dog. You know, I got him at 6-3, 67% in this spot. You know, Florida defensive end, Tyreek Sapp, giving a couple of quotes here, which is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to the Gators. Quote, the last week's loss doesn't reflect who we are, because who we are isn't what we have done once, it's what we do consistently. More Sapp. This is a phenomenal opportunity. The best thing about it is we get to prove ourselves who we really are. So I love the concept of the team off a bad loss searching for redemption. And they know they can beat Nussmeier and the Tigers because they did it last year. All right. LSU hasn't moved the ball effectively yet this season. All right. I mean, they really haven't. They had an offensive line with all kinds of questions coming into the campaign. And in my mind, those questions have not been answered positively just yet. The center, Braylon Moore, may not play this week. He went down with an ankle injury the first offensive play. Last week, they have an injury at tight end as well with Trey'Dez Green, who's not likely to play this time around either. And the offense hasn't moved the football, you know. So in this point spread range, Florida or pass for this better. I think the Gators are a clear choice given the circumstance and obviously given this attractive touchdown/touchdown plus level point spread. We got great deals up right now, obviously, at WagerTalk.com. We got the short-term deal, all right? Weekend Warrior All-Access Package. We have a 30-day special right now at WagerTalk.com. Every play, every day, just $1.99. And, of course, we have a buy 3 months, get a 4th free. So short-term, medium-term, long-term packages, whatever you're looking for, check out my homepage, www.buzz/TC. Number 1 all-time at WagerTalk with NFL 5% big ticket reports. We do have a 5% big ticket in the NFL on Sunday.
Nice.
Hey, everybody. Rob Vino here, WagerTalk.com, WagerTalk TV with your free selection with analysis today. We're going to take a look at Saturday's college football game between Duke and Tulane. Got a strong feeling on this one here. Going to give you the full analysis. Going to give you the selection here on this in this particular YouTube short video.
First, like to ask everybody if you like the free selections with analysis provided here by WagerTalk Handicappers each and every day. Go ahead and click the like button. It helps us out. Click subscribe. Join the 215 plus thousand people who have already subscribed to WagerTalk TV. If you have a comment on this particular game, Duke at Tulane, or any other college football game this weekend, drop it in the comment section. I try to get to those as quickly as I can. Let's get into it now. Duke at Tulane. The Duke 26-point loss last week to Illinois. It looks a lot worse than maybe it really was. What was brutal for Duke in that game was the 5 turnovers they committed. Those 5 turnovers resulted in 21 Illinois points. It's almost the difference in the entire game. They lost by 26. They gave up 21 off of turnovers. 4 of those turnovers, including the one that they had on downs, they all occurred in Illinois territory, at the Illinois 18, at the Illinois 29, at the Illinois 32, at the Illinois 39. So Duke driving most of the game, turning the ball over, not something that happens every single week. The Blue Devils had 438 total yards worth of offense. Illinois only had 419, so Duke outgained them. Duke threw for 356 and actually averaged 7 yards per play against what's considered to be a top-tier Illinois defense. So good news for the Duke offense in that one, despite the final score. Tulane, on the other hand, they showed a few defensive liabilities in their game against South Alabama last week. The Sun Belt entrant he got to Tulane a little bit and almost pulled that game off. Wound up being 33-31 Tulane final. The Green Wave allowed 421 total yards in that game. That's a ton of yardage to South Alabama. And I think the concerns are that it was evenly dispersed. 190 on the ground given up by Tulane, 231 through the air. Again, just a 33-31 victory as a 13.5-point favorite. So a team that was up 33-17, which Tulane was, held on for dear life, 33-31 final. South Alabama in that game had 4 touchdown drives of 75 or more yards, between 75 and 80, 4 touchdown drives. Those are long drives, not good news for the Tulane defense. And those results might indicate that their week 1 strong defensive performance against Northwestern might be more due to Northwestern ineptness on the offensive side of the football. Maybe Northwestern was just incompetent against a top-notch foe. Tulane took advantage. I think to their credit, you would look at Tulane and say, well, they've already forced 7 turnovers. They forced 5 in that Northwestern game, 2 more last week. So the defense has been coming up with some big plays. Let's take a final look at this one. The immediate look at the turnover margins between these two teams. You see Tulane +6 in turnover margin. You see Duke -6. That's a 12 turnover gap. And your first thought is, turnovers are a lot of times random. And those numbers are subject to change at some point. Another way to look at this game would be that these are 2 excellent quarterbacks. Darian Mensah for Duke, the ex-Tulane quarterback coming back home. Tulane, Jake Retzlaff, the ex-BYU quarterback who's led this Tulane offense to 2 really good performances thus far. It's a homecoming here for Mensah. Again, he quarterbacked the Green Wave last year. He'll be pumped up, ready to go to have a strong performance. The Tulane coaching staff knows him. They don't necessarily know him inside this Duke offense, so it'll be interesting. They've got a couple of games of game tape, obviously, but some things will be different that Manny Diaz's team shows rather than what Mensah did at Tulane. The 4 games combined between these 2 teams this season, they've each played 2. Final score totals have registered 62, 64, and 64 points. It could be that the best units on the field are the offenses in this case, and the number of 53.5 is a bit too low. So I could make a firm case for Duke as the underdog in this situation, and betting money has flowed their way. I think you could also make a firm case that 53.5 is too low, the way these 2 teams are playing offense right now, and the way these 2 teams have allowed 400-plus yard games already this year. I'm going to lean slightly stronger that way. It's going to be your free play for today. It's going to be the Duke-Tulane game over 53.5, full game total over 53.5. On the way out, I'd just like to make everybody aware of the Wager Talk special going on this weekend, the Weekend Warrior Football Special. You can get every play I release Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night. It includes any 5% blue chip that gets released here. You get all 3 days for just $49, regularly $108. So you're getting more than 50% off on this 3-day deal. Every football play Saturday, every football play Sunday, and the Monday nighter. Just $49. Pick up your package at WagerTalk.com. For now, this is Rob Vino saying good luck with all your plays. We'll see you next time on Wager Talk TV.
Hi, and welcome back, everybody, to Wager Talk TV. I'm Ross the Boss Benjamin of WagerTalk.com, and it is Thursday, September the 11th. Before I get to my 2 college football picks and analysis, folks, I would be remiss not to mention and bring up the tragic events of 9/11 that occurred a couple decades ago. And I would like to pray, and my thoughts and prayers, I should say, go out to the families that lost loved ones on that tragic day. And God rest all the souls of the brave men and women who perished on that day and the innocent people who were victims of that tragic event. So again, folks, sometimes priorities and more important things in life take priority over the sporting events that we love to watch on a daily basis, and this certainly is one of them. So again, my prayers and thoughts go out to all involved. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes. We're going to be looking at Duke and Tulane and Minnesota and California. Folks, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, take a second to do so. Hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Absolutely free to do so. And then click on the alert notification bell for Wager Talk TV, and you'll be notified upon any of our great content going up on our channel from some of the finest sports betting experts in all the world right here at Wager Talk TV. And that's not bragging, folks. That's fact. In addition, be kind enough to give my video a like today. It goes a long way in keeping these videos alive. Also goes a long way in keeping the people over at Wager Talk TV happy with me. And I'm trying to make you happy on a daily basis, folks. So hit that like button and let us know who you like. Who's your best bets in week 3 of the college football card, whether it be on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Leave those picks in the comments section. And don't forget, folks, be kind to one another. It's okay to disagree. It prompts healthy discussions, and that's how it should be. However, if you're going to be disrespectful, demeaning, or vulgar, we're going to remove your ability from being able to comment. So you'll get one warning. That's it, folks. And just be nice to each other and be nice to me because I'm nice to you. You know, it's okay if you disagree with me, but we don't have to get into trash talking, okay? So in any event, folks, let's get to the matter at hand. Let's start with the game between Duke and Tulane. 8 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN2. Duke is currently a 1.5-point favorite at FanDuel. Now, when you look across the board, you may see Tulane as high as a 1.5-point favorite. At other sports books, you may see a -1, but we're going to go with this Duke -1.5 at FanDuel, and you'll know why, and obviously you'll understand why I did so, because Duke is coming off a 45-19 home loss to Illinois. Now, they played Illinois pretty tough, but they were victimized by 5 turnovers. And I know it's hard to say 45-19, they played them tough, but if you look at the total yardage, it was pretty much the same for both teams. They also opened the season with a 45-17 win over FCS team in Elon, but they failed to cover as a 36.5-point favorite. Here's the thing. Duke's starting quarterback this year is Darian Mensah, and he's, with the exception of a couple turnovers, he's looked pretty good so far. But you know what? Mensah is the former Tulane quarterback. So if anybody knows Mensah, it is the Tulane defensive coaching staff and head coach. And I'm sure they'll be prepared well, whatever, and not be surprised by whatever Mensah throws their way. Tulane has began the season 2-0 with a 23-3 home win over Northwestern, and last week they squeaked out a 33-31 road win at South Alabama. They had 421 yards of total offense versus Northwestern, 406 for South Alabama. And 510 of those 827 total yards in their first 2 games came on the ground. So this is once they get the lead, they're going to be very tough in this contest. And I think they will get the lead here. And again, I go back to the fact that in a seemingly very even matchup, you look for just certain things that may make the difference. Well, here it is. Duke is -6 turnover differential in the first 2 games, and Tulane is +6. I'm going to go with the Tulane Green Wave +1.5 against Duke. Couple friendly reminders on specials we got going on right now that you should take advantage of, folks, because it's a limited time offer. Let's start with number one. It's a $49 Weekend Warrior special this weekend. And you can get all our college football and NFL betting, premium betting picks for $49. That's a huge value, especially the fact when you look at me, I give out a $35 college football 5% best bet, and I'll have a $35 NFL 5% best bet this week. That's $70 right there without throwing anything in. By the way, I have 4 college football picks up for Saturday, including the 5% best bet and 3 other 3% plays in college football. And folks, my 5% best bets in the first 2 weeks of the season, I had LSU +4.5, a 17-10 winner at Clemson in their opener. And then last week, I had the Oklahoma Sooners -5 against the Michigan Wolverines, and they won by 11. So 2-0 to start the year with my college football best bets. Also, folks, remember, college football, number 1 in money earned and units earned and win percentage last year. Since the start of the 2023 college football season, including the first 3 weeks of this year, I am still number 1 in units earned over that course of time in college football. So a lot to like there. Also, don't forget, another special, $199 gets you all the NFL and college football for the next 30 days. NFL, college football combined 30-day all-access pass, $199. And finally, folks, for $299, you're going to be able, by purchasing a 90-day all-access pass for $299, you're going to be able to get, and I don't want to misquote, $299 for 30 days, and you're going to get the next 30 days free. So you're going to get 120 days for $299, all access. That includes baseball, basketball's coming up, college basketball in the NBA, the NHL, all for $299 for the next 120 days, simply by buying that 90-day all access pass. And we're going to throw in an additional 30 days absolutely free. All right, let's get to the next game, Minnesota and Cal, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time start. Minnesota right now a 2.5-point favorite. The total in this game is 43.5, according to DraftKings, and that's exactly where our focus is going to be on this total. Minnesota, the first 2 games, their defense allowed 5 points per game and 96.5 yards per game. I know they played Northwestern State last week. They played Buffalo in their season opener. They're stepping up in class a little bit here against Cal. But you know what? Here's the other thing with Minnesota. In their first 2 games, they ran the ball 90 times and passed only 52 times. So 63.4% of their offensive plays were running plays in their first 2 games. By the way, PJ Fleck, since he arrived as head coach at Minnesota, after scoring 24 points or more in the first half of their previous game, which they did against Northwestern State, he's gone 5-0 to the under in away games and neutral site games after that occurred. Cal, 2-0 in their first 2 games, and their defense, not as good as Cal, but still pretty damn good. 9 points per game, 202.5 yards per game. Justin Wilcox, since he's become head coach at Cal, they played 12-2 to the under in non-conference games. Cal offense, their first 2 games, 66 runs, 69 passes, a 50-50 split. I like this one to be a low-scoring affair, a knockout, drag-out affair. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Golden Gophers and the Cal Bears under 43.5. Don't forget those great specials. I have 4 college football winners up right now for Saturday, including your 5% best bet. Until the next time, for Wager Talk TV and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless.
When I first moved to Vegas in 1998, I used to hang out at the Stardust Racing Sportsbook. That was the mecca for sports bettors in Vegas. And they would always call this game the late night bailout special. Saturday night, late night, Boston College and Stanford. BC off an overtime loss in East Lansing, now traveling all the way west for a game that's not even going to start until 10:30 p.m. at their time. How do we break it down? Let's talk about it. Teddy Covers from WagerTalk.com with a big game breakdown. BC, despite the horrible circumstances, again, when you're off an OT loss, you're traveling 3,000 miles across the country, and you're playing at an awkward time on your body clocks. Those tend to be bet against spots, and yet what have we seen in this game? Nothing but BC money early on. Open 10.5 now. Looking at my Odds Logic live odds screen, I'm seeing Boston College 12.5 out there. There are some 12s if you shop around, but 12.5 the prevailing number for this ball game. 44 the total. The market's not expecting Stanford to be lighting up the scoreboard, and that's certainly been the case. And the fact that BC's off this overtime loss, traveling across the country, playing at an awkward time, and still taking money and laying double digits on the road tells us a lot about this year's Stanford Cardinals. So let's be real about it. Cardinal, singular, not plural. Stanford Cardinal. When we talk about Stanford football, I mean, this program has really been a train wreck dating back to the end of the David Shaw era. You know, they haven't won more than 4 games in any season since 2018. They entered 2025 14-34 against the spread since 2021. And what are they this year? 0-2. You know, and obviously you have the Troy Taylor situation in the offseason, fired following an investigation into his conduct off the field. Frank Reich, who's no spring chicken, took over as a temporary guy. Hey, let's see what I can do for this season. Reich's not going to be here long term. He's just trying to steady the ship, and the ship isn't very steady. The early season results very predictable for Stanford. They lost to Hawaii. I watched that game. Hawaii did not play well, and they were still good enough to beat Stanford. They lost to BYU last week. I watched that game as well. BYU didn't play great, and they still beat Stanford 27-3, non-competitive. And it's not like playing at the farm's going to help a lot. This is the first home game of the season for Stanford. But we talk about the strong home fields in college football. Well, the one in Palo Alto, not one of the stronger ones, to put it mildly. Before I continue, I do want to ask you guys one simple favor. If you like this type of breakdown, you like these analysis, boom, hit that like button. Done. Problem solved. Thank you. Of course, we appreciate the comments below. Tell us what you think about this late night West Coast bailout special. And of course, if you haven't done so already, what do we get? We're well over 200,000 have now followed Wager Talk TV on YouTube. I encourage you, if you haven't done so already, do it now, and you'll get instant alerts every time these videos go live. Like, comment, follow, and of course, I've got a special offer going right now, this week only. Real simple, 7-day all access. Nothing more to buy, no bait and switch. Get all my NFL, all my college football, all my MLB. 7-day all access, just $69, less than $10 a day. Use promo code TEDDY69 at checkout. Again, $69 for 7 days. Promo code TEDDY69 at checkout. That will get you that instant discount over at my page, wt.buzz/TC, or just visit the website, wagertalk.com. So Stanford's passing game hasn't worked at all this season. They couldn't throw the ball effectively against Hawaii. It's a weak receiving core. They didn't score a touchdown against the Cougs last week, 161 total yards in that game. The offense didn't work pretty much at all. I haven't been impressed with Ben Gulbranson, the quarterback for Stanford. The receiving core has been equally problematic. So when you have a QB who's not elite and a receiving core who's not making plays for the non-elite QB, it leads to results like what we've seen from Stanford so far this year, which is not all that much offense. So, you know, Frank Reich, quote, doesn't take much. It just needs to start with a belief with who you are and what we're doing, and then you get to execute one play at a time, one first down at a time, one touchdown at a time. That's the mentality. We talked about it. We're never going to be okay with losing. We're here to get better and win. I'm excited to get back to work. Okay. That's Coach Speak 101. The bottom line is Stanford has one of the least talented rosters, maybe the least talented roster of any Power 4 conference team this year. And they're facing an opponent is that, again, we don't love that they're coming off an overtime loss. Team's coming off an overtime loss with travel again, and of course traveling across the country, playing at a weird time. But Bill O'Brien's squad has the arrow pointed up. Stanford does not. Stanford has the arrow pointed down. All right? It's a conference game, so there's no looking past Stanford in this contest. Both these teams, BC and Stanford, in the ACC. This is not a Big East versus Pac-12 matchup like it was when I first moved to Vegas. Now it's two ACC teams, so that increases the urgency for the Cardinals and for the Eagles, I should say. And BC's the better team on both sides of football. Been impressed with Dylan Lonergan, the quarterback who they got at the transfer portal this past offseason. He's played well. I watched him against Michigan State last week. And while the offense had lulls, particularly in the second half of that ball game, there's balance there. It's a QB who can make throws and the receivers that can make plays. And defensively, Stanford's been okay. BC's been pretty good. So I get it. I don't love the spot for the Eagles. It's not a load up the, back of the Brinks truck and load up on this wager. But if I'm playing, I'm laying here. Cardinal got to show me that they can be decent, that they can hang with any decent foe before I put money on them. I do not a believer in putting a whole lot of money on bottom feeders in college football. And Stanford this year, they're a bottom feeder. BC or pass for this better on Saturday night. Thank you so much for watching. Again, appreciate those likes and follows and comments very, very much. My homepage, wt.buzz/TC, to take advantage of that Teddy 69 offer at checkout for the 7-day all access. And best of luck with all your bets in week 3 of college football and beyond. Cheers.
College football week 3. I'm Joe Madden. We're live on various different channels, Kick, Rumble, and of course, WagerTalk YouTube. We got a loaded show today. Please hit that like, hit that retweet button, hit that subscribe button over on YouTube, as well as hit that notification bell so you know exactly when we're going live. Now, I'm Joe Madden, like I said, filling in for Kelly in Vegas today, but Ariel will be back tomorrow to take you over the NFL. Today's all about college football, and we got an absolutely loaded show. Art DeCesar from the Westgate Superbook will be stepping in first. Gianni The Greek will then be following up, and we got Teddy Covers to finish off the show. It's going to be a great one here. I can hardly wait for these games to kick off here at noon. Now, if you've got questions for our handicappers, make sure you do drop them in the comment section there. We're going to try to get to all of your questions, all of your comments today. So make sure you do drop them. And as we go over these games, open your odds logics page so that you can follow the best of these lines. You want to make sure you get the best of the numbers. But without delay, let's bring Art DeCesar in from the from Westgate Superbook. Art, that was a mouthful this morning. It's Saturday morning here. It's only 9 a.m. my time. It's 8 a.m. I guess your time though.
Yeah, Joe, happy to be here with you. And, a lot of fun games to talk about. Better weekend than we had last weekend as far as games of interest in college football. So excited to get going.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what are we looking at? You're rolling into week 3 here. How are the books faring thus far in the first couple of weeks in college football?
It's kind of been a mixed bag for us. Week 1, leave week 0 out of it because not much to talk about there. But week 1 was really good for us. Week 2 was not so good for us. So we've kind of been split as far as we go on the early college football season.
Okay, so looking at today, we've got some big favorites again today. We know, like the Ohio State Buckeyes last week, absolutely dominated covering that spread. Where is the biggest spread that you're seeing that you need the opposite side, where you need the dog?
You know, I would say the biggest one right now is an early game, Oklahoma. We opened Oklahoma as low as 21.5. We got to 24.5 this morning on Temple. That is at Temple. We need Temple in the game, despite the nibble back at Temple at 24.5. All the early money on Oklahoma, and that early 21.5 money was sharp, and they even laid 23, which took us to 24. So early on, and that's a 9 a.m. Vegas kickoff time, we will need Temple against the Sooners.
Okay, big noon Eastern, looking for that Temple cover there. If you want to be on the side of the books, Art, I'd rather be on the side of the books than the public. And talking about that public money, where's the majority of public money and love coming today?
You know, there's a lot of action on some of these pretty good games. I would say if you just want to talk Florida LSU, it's one of the big games of the day, and actually our biggest need of the day right now when we look at that game. You know, that opened as high as Florida for us, plus 8.5. We saw pretty good money sharp-wise on Florida early at the 8.5 and the 7.5, and then even saw the public pile in on Florida, take a shot with Florida on the money line. We're now LSU minus 6.5, so we've gotten under the touchdown there. We will need LSU in the game. We will also need Ole Miss in a game against Arkansas. Obviously, Ole Miss has some issues with their quarterback. He was supposedly in a walking boot all week. Looks like it's a game-time decision. Arkansas took money as high as 8.5 as well. That's also under the touchdown. Under 7, minus 6.5, Ole Miss.
Okay, and then when we look at that sharp money, where are the sharps putting their money today, and what do you need on that side of it?
Yeah, sharp money, I would say Georgia Tech is pretty sharp. That's an early game as well. They took 4. They even took 3. We're now Georgia Tech. If you take 3 on that, you're laying minus 120 on that. So sharp money's been on Georgia Tech all week. Sharp money early was on Pitt, 4.5, 5.5, got all the way up to 7.5. There was a nibble back on West Virginia this morning at 7.5, so we're 7 there. That was early sharp money. Sharp money was on Liberty, minus 5, minus 5.5, up to 6 against Bowling Green. Very early in the week, they took that. And here's one that they took at multiple numbers. They laid 14 all the way up to 17 with Arizona State at home against Texas State. We're now 17.5 on the game. Multiple sharps and multiple sharp groups laid multiple different numbers on Arizona State. Texas State will be a big need for us late.
Wow. Okay, so when we're looking at this as well, is there any underdogs, large underdogs that people are betting straight up on the money line that you just need that favorite to come out nice and strong?
Yeah, I would say probably the one that has taken some pretty good money line action. Georgia Tech is one. We had mentioned the money that had come on Georgia Tech. They took Georgia Tech. They also took Vanderbilt. They took a couple shots with Vanderbilt on the money line. That was as high as, plus 4.5, plus 4 at one point. South Carolina is now minus 3. So they saw pretty good, as they like to call it, the little sprinkle on Vanderbilt. So you did see that.
Okay, well, it sounds like there's a lot of areas where you're needing those dogs to be able to come in with those straight up wins or covering that spread. Where is the biggest game that you really need that dog or that favorite to cover?
Yeah, I would think I'll go back to that LSU Florida game. Right now, That is our biggest need. Another need for us, and it's a big number we need them to cover, Ohio State. They took Ohio at 32. They took Ohio at 31. We're now Ohio State minus 29.5. So if the Buckeyes can come out and win that game by 5+ touchdowns, it would be a really good result for us. I don't know. People thinking maybe, Ohio State will play nice with the in-state rival. Who knows? But they did take Ohio at those big numbers.
I'm shocked by that, Art. I'm a Buckeyes fan here, and we saw what they did last week. Maybe people are reacting to maybe that little bit of a letdown spot. But I tell you, this Buckeyes team should come out nice and strong. Do you get a lot of first quarter money coming in as well?
As far as the first quarter goes, we don't do first quarter on every college football game. We usually like to pick select games of the day. Like today, I believe we just have 3. we have Georgia, Tennessee, we have Notre Dame, Texas A&M, we have LSU, Florida. So we only kind of cherry pick the best games. The first half, I always say with the first half, because even if you're half a point difference, because it's a first half bet, you'll see those bets come in where sometimes on the full game, you could be half a point off and it's not that big of a difference. Whereas some of the bettors look to take, let's say most places have 17 on a first half for a side. We have 17 and a half. You'll see those 17 and a halves get bought up real quick, especially if you're the only one in the market sitting off, where everyone else has a number. So that happens a lot.
Okay, and then we do have a question in the chat. Hopefully you have an answer for this. Where are you seeing the money coming in with Wisconsin and Alabama? Alabama, they're saying went from 21.5 to 19.5. Are you seeing that love coming for Alabama in this game?
Wisconsin, so like the question, perfect question. We were as high as 21 on that game. We're now 19.5 on that game. But sometimes what happens on a game, and it's not anything sharp or anything as far as a big bet goes that moved us. Sometimes we're just moving with the market. Sometimes maybe we don't get hit, we don't get bet on that particular game, and we just move with the market. Obviously, a couple of bets here and there on every side. I think eventually, even though it's an early kick, you'll probably see someone want to come lay 19.5 with Alabama because now it's well under the 3 touchdowns. But for us, that was us just moving with the market on that game.
Okay, now we are getting questions about where that Clemson game opened at. I'm trying to find it here on the Odds Logic screen. Art, do you know where that one opened and where you've got it right now?
Yeah, we were as high as 4.5 on the game. We were 4.5 quick, though. Barely took a bet, moved to 4, but we did take early money on Georgia Tech at 4 and 3.5. We're now sitting Georgia Tech 3. Clemson will be an early need for us. And like I said, there were people betting Georgia Tech on the money line.
Okay, well, Art, I wish you guys all the best in all of those bets today. Hopefully, you're on the right side of things, or the public. We'll see. We'll see how things go today. But thank you so much for joining us here on Last Call, here on Wager Talk. You guys, Art DeCesar from the Westgate Superbook. I got it out this time, Art. I hope to see you again soon.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Talk soon.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, you heard what the Westgate Superbook is needing in those games today. It's going to be really interesting to see where the public does fare, where that sharp money fares as well. But let's bring Gianni The Greek in. We're going to see him. You can follow him at Greek_Gambler. Over on all social media. Yanni, welcome to the show. I know you've been just crushing it with your bet on it, college football, NFL. You've also got a Sunday show, which we will get into, which is called Bet the Steam Room with Ace. You got a lot of stuff going on. I want to thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Sorry, I'm just firing away right now. These games are coming in live. I have no choice. I got to bet them before these numbers go away. But I'll give you an out for this right now. Give me a second. Yeah,
absolutely. You keep getting those bets in as we talk here, Yanni. I don't blame you at all, you guys. You want to make sure you do go over and give Yanni a follow at Greek_Gambler on social media. Yanni, what are you getting in on? Where are those numbers
coming? Against Oregon, I just bet Northwestern first quarter +7, and I bet Northwestern +14.5 first half. Fading Oregon in both of those, first half and first quarter. I sent 3% to subscribers in the first quarter. I just sent them another 2% in the first half. Again, those are for subscribers. A lot of this late stuff that's coming in, I'll share right now. It's mostly the derivatives. That's what they're blasting this morning. Most of the sides and totals, unless the public knocks a couple of these lines out of whack, most of those bets have already come in except for the added board, and I'll give you some of those. But so far this morning, some of those derivatives we've been betting are, like I said, Northwestern first half, Northwestern first quarter. We bet Georgia Tech +0.5 in the first quarter. We bet Clemson, Georgia Tech under 10.5 first quarter. We bet Memphis, Troy under 10.5 first quarter. We bet Massachusetts over 3.5 team total. We're firing away over here. And a couple extra added board games for you. 308-907. William and Mary in Virginia over 51.5. They also laid the 28 in Virginia in that game. And then 308-925 over 53.5, over 54 Norfolk Rutgers. And finally, Kennesaw State minus the 14. So that's some of the early stuff that came in that we've been firing away. So busy day of college football. There's also UFC, also boxing. So yeah, NFL tomorrow, big day, big weekend, Joe, big weekend.
Yeah, you're absolutely loaded this weekend. And when you mentioned that William and Mary Virginia game, we are seeing a lot of movement in that line. The 51.5 is only available at a couple of books. So you jumping on that. I'm seeing as high as 53.5 on some of those books in that matchup, VR.
Yeah, they move quickly. That's the thing with the added board games. And I don't even use them for the daily card guys. Those are for my subscribers, the guys that partner up with me for a season or the year that I know are already logged into their accounts and they're ready to fire. Because a lot of those bets are what ultimately gives you the most value. Again, the easiest way to know where the book is most vulnerable is to simply ask what the betting limits are. And there's a reason they'll take 100,000 on an NFL side, but they'll only take a nickel on Kennesaw State. There's, other than they can't write a lot of action the other way, which, could be the argument like, wait, we can't get risk the other side. But still, it just shows based on the line movement, just how inefficient the market is. Because if your market's efficient, you don't have a reason to move the line. If you think your line's tight, then keep betting me. Go ahead. You're laying 11-10. I could be wrong and still make money. But if you're seeing me getting 11-10 and I'm moving the line 2-3 points, then rest assured I'm respecting your action and I'm letting you know I think my line was inefficient and you're probably right. And there's nothing more satisfying as a sports bettor than seeing that. Again, I talk about closing line value all the time, and it's really hard to argue that getting closing line value is not a recipe for success. Because again, if you could get out ahead of the market and beat the market in any market, you're going to make some money.
Now, we are seeing quite a bit of movement between Wisconsin and Alabama. We know this one opened 46.5. These numbers are floating around depending on your books. We got 45.5s and 46s for that total. I did see a 46.5 pop up. It is gone now. But Alabama, a 20.5 point favorite coming into this one. Now an 18.5 point favorite on one book. I'm seeing 19 or 19.5, even up to 20.5 on others. Where's your action coming in this game today?
I haven't touched that game. I think the right side is Wisconsin. Those bettors that got in and got the 3 touchdowns, I think that's a great bet, regardless of outcome. And the market kind of reflects that now. Since then, you're starting to see favorite money, Alabama money, at least from the recreational accounts. But when you get into those like big 20 point favorites, they don't get much straight action from the recreational bettors. Most of the time, those are tied into parlays with other big favorites. They tend to do that a lot. They're not really comfortable walking up laying a nickel at minus 18.5, 19.5, as much as putting it in like a parlay or even a money line parlay. But I think the right side, to me, I like Wisconsin. I like the game over too. I see the totals dropping, but I think you could get some points. Again, obviously, the narrative is defense, but I always say sometimes great defense is the perfect storm for an over, because the total is going to be shaded towards the bias of good defenses. And then you couple that with good defenses create turnovers. Good defenses create short fields. Good defenses score special team touchdowns. Like, scoring can happen even though good defenses are on the field. And sometimes you can take advantage of that narrative. So that game kind of sticks out a little bit on like there, where I think the over may offer a little bit of value if it keeps dropping.
Yeah, we do have a question here from Thomas Lynch. VR, what's the movement on USC and Purdue? Some people like Purdue.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to tell you. If I had to bet the side, I haven't bet the side. I bet the under, and it looks like I may be on the wrong side because the line's kind of climbing, and I hate when that happens. Now I'm hoping to be the product of good luck, because I went under in that game. I think I went under like 59.5, and now it's 60.5. And whenever I could get a better number on Saturday than I did on Tuesday or Wednesday, I always tell myself you did a bad job. Like now I'm hoping, again, to be the product of good luck, and hopefully that game stays under. But the truth is, I took a bad number. You could get under 60.5 today, probably even under 61, and I'm hoping it stays under 59.5. So I got a bad ticket in my pocket, but once you place the bet, it's too late. You can't take it back.
Absolutely. I had that
I'm hoping
last
for a
weekend.
lower scoring game between Ohio State and Purdue. But I will tell you this: Ohio State's the number 1 team in the country. I'm sure a lot of people agree with that. But power rating wise, they're starting again, we don't have much data. We're now only in week 2 or 3, depending what you call it in college football. But they're starting to show that they are the cream of the crop, and they're probably 2 or 3 points better than the next best team in college football. I think when the dust settles, we're going to reach that conclusion that they probably are at least a field goal better than the second best team in college football. I don't think we're there yet, but I'm starting to see that this Ohio State's team is legit and arguably should be the number 1 team in the country and the favorite to win it all.
Well, as a Buckeyes fan, I absolutely love that. For sure, that is my team. I'm looking for them to come out strong as well. What about Crawford here today?
Here we go. Canelo Crawford. Listen, I'm going to just tell you my opinion. I lived here in Las Vegas through the Floyd Mayweather era, and I made a lot of money. I was on radio at that time, and I used to laugh about it because most people didn't realize that Floyd Mayweather was not only a best friend to Las Vegas because of all the revenue he brought to the city, but he was a best friend to the sports books as well, because he was such a big favorite most times, and he was such a villain that just as many people tuned in to watch him lose as tuned in to watch him win. So bettors would line up and bet against Floyd. They would think of every reason to bet against Floyd because they were getting plus money, and they thought that equated the value, but nothing could be further from the truth, because when Floyd Mayweather entered the ring in Las Vegas, he was already up 4-0 on the judges' scorecards. It has nothing to do with being fixed, has nothing to do with corruption. It has to do with influence. And Floyd Mayweather had a ton of influence in the city and in the Nevada State Athletic Commission. And rest assured, Canelo Alvarez on Mexican Independence Day has just as much influence as Floyd Mayweather had over that decade. So unless Crawford's able to knock him out, unless Crawford's able to get a couple 10-8 rounds, I don't see him scoring a decision here in Las Vegas on Mexican Independence Day against Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez will have to get beaten to a pulp to lose a decision tonight. That's not happening. And the flip side, I think Canelo breaks him down systematically, wins the fight. Don't be surprised if he even stops Crawford, who's not going to have the footwork at this weight class that he had 2 weight classes below. He's also 37, almost 38 years old. I understand he's undefeated. I understand it looks attractive as an underdog, but it's in Las Vegas. It's Mexican Independence Day. It's Canelo Alvarez, and at less than a 2-1 favorite with 4 rounds already in my pocket, I'm taking Canelo.
So we just take him straight up on the money line there, though?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
That's it. A little sprinkle inside by finish because it pays so well, because it's so heavily favored to go to a decision. Both men have proven to be so durable. But just in case, you know what I mean? Crazier things have happened than seeing the bigger man stop the smaller man, especially if the referee stoppage, if they start breaking them down in the later rounds. So a small sprinkle on Canelo, TKO, KO, DQ, which probably pays good. But money line, I think, offers more than enough value. Anything better than minus 200, where 2 out of 3 times he wins this fight, you break even. I think it's a great bet, Joe.
Yeah, it definitely is. I want to turn back to some college football here. I want to ask you what you're seeing with Clemson and Georgia Tech. We know Georgia Tech has those questions around their quarterback, Haynes King. Is he beat up enough that we just stay off the home dog here? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I'm on the under. I like the under. We bet the under in the first quarter in that one. I also saw Georgia Tech in the first quarter. So they expect them to come out well, or it has something to do with who defers and who receives in the kickoff. That's how they bet a lot of these first quarters. So they don't think Georgia Tech is in a disadvantage early in the game. What I'm seeing as far as the betting action, it's good. It's good 2-way split action. So this is the game that you want to be booking. Now, obviously, the early sharp money came in. You saw the line move towards Georgia Tech when it was a lot higher. But that was, a little bit of sharper money, and those limits are a lot lower. But as of today, where the limits are large and bettors are betting, recreational bettors as well, I'm seeing good balanced action there. So I'm just hoping for a low-scoring early first quarter for me to cash a ticket. I'm a little
I love where you're going with that one. What about Notre Dame? Notre Dame coming off the bye here, facing Texas A&M. They've been so solid off a bye, especially off a loss. We know in week 1 they did lose to Miami in that heartbreaker that cost a lot of people some money. Where are you seeing the action on this one?
Yeah, I'm seeing Notre Dame money. I'm seeing Notre Dame being teased. Guys, don't tease college football. Don't do it. It's not profitable. The only time that I've ever seen college football teased by sharp bettors over the last 5+ years came in like a playoff right before the national championship, where I think you could make that argument. But otherwise, I just don't think it's a profitable strategy. So stay away from the teasers in college football. Too much variance in scoring. You're better off betting Notre Dame minus the 6 if you like it, or whatever the number is right now. I like Texas A&M. I think they could keep it close. I think Miami, which isn't even a top 10 college football team, let alone a top 5 college football team, was able to beat them. And I think when the dust settles and this season's over, Miami will be lucky to be in the top 20. That's the beauty of college football early on. Your record and beating a school like that is going to put you in the top 5, in the top 10 for sure. If you're 2-0 or 3-0 after today, after this week, and beat at least one decent team, you're in the top 5, top 10 in college football. But power rating wise, Notre Dame is not, what's it called? Whoever I was talking about, or was just on the top of my head, is not Miami. Miami is not a top 5 power rated team. So if they were able to beat Notre Dame, I think Texas A&M will able to hang close with them, take the points. Don't be surprised if Texas A&M wins on the money line. I think it's worth a sprinkle, but I like Texas A&M.
Ooh, the sprinkle on the money line there going into Notre Dame. That's going to be an interesting one to see what their offensive line is able to do.
No, stick to Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame better. I like it.
I'm trying to say it so people don't get
the Canadian way is the right way to say it. You guys speak French up there. So if you don't know how to say Notre Dame, nobody does.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, people are begging in the chat for you to throw some MLB at us. What have you got for MLB?
Here's what I could tell you about baseball real quickly. Before game 1 of the series yesterday, 3 series bets got steamed. Okay, can't give you today's MLB because we're still working on that. But here's the 3 series that got steamed. White Sox plus 190, Miami plus 190, Mets minus 150. Miami won game 1, so they got to win either today or tomorrow for that series bet to win. White Sox and Mets both lost game 1. So now they both have to win on Saturday and Sunday for those sharp series bets to cash. So look at the White Sox, look at the Mets today. If you agree with them, probably makes sense to back them. But it's a little early right now. It's been all college football till about 9 a.m., about 30 minutes till kickoff. Then we'll see if there's any baseball to zero in on. Because, again, don't forget, we got MMA today. We got boxing, college football, NFL tomorrow. Baseball take a small back seat today, but we're still going to take a look for sure.
Absolutely. So you said it. We got basically 30 minutes till kickoff here. What else do you have for us before we let you get back to getting those bets in?
Yeah, I'm ready. Like I said, I'm set for a big weekend. I'm excited. Tomorrow we have the steam room leading into the final hour of the NFL kickoff. So if you're a subscriber, you already got the invite for sure. Otherwise, if you sign up, make sure you get the invite for that. We go over every NFL game. We go over our year-to-date results, our goal towards the end of the year coming up. And today, 5% in the college football pass, number 1 in college football, number 1 NFL college football combined 2025 heading into this weekend. And that's up WagerTalk. Also combined UFC and boxing. I got 2 boxing bets, 6 UFC bets already in that package. So let's do some damage this weekend. Thank you, Joe, for having me, and best of luck to you today, too.
Yeah, best of luck today, Gianni. Thank you so much for joining us here on Last Call. Crush those books. You guys, that was Gianni The Greek. Make sure you go over and follow him on all social media at Greek_gambler. Also, head on over to WagerTalk.com to get all of his bets. You don't want to miss out on those packages that he has up. And then, like he said, tune in tomorrow. You don't want to miss out on his show, Bet the Steam Room with Ace. He's going to be live there for a couple hours talking all of the NFL games. It's going to come up right after Last Call tomorrow with Ariel. So make sure you jump on that, you guys. We're now going to bring in Teddy Covers to the show from WagerTalk.com. Make sure you drop your questions in the chat for Teddy. Teddy, happy Saturday. How's college football been treating you so far?
Well, good morning, Joe. We enjoyed last night in college football, certainly. The Houston Cougars got the job done for us, and I'm still kicking myself for not betting New Mexico. We saw, I saw New Mexico week 1 against Michigan hang with the Wolverines at the line of scrimmage, and I'm like, is this real? No, Michigan's just not taking them seriously. New Mexico, of course, brought in 70 transfers this offseason. And guess what? They didn't just hang in the trenches with UCLA last night. They dominated in the trenches against the Bruins last night. If there's one team where preseason power ratings, you could throw them out, the New Mexico Lobos should be power rated a lot higher than I've seen anywhere. And obviously we saw that last
35
night.
to 10.
It wasn't UCLA turnovers. It was New Mexico being the better team on both sides of the line of scrimmage. So it wasn't fluky. It wasn't one of those weird games. It was New Mexico beating up UCLA at the line of scrimmage. And that's, Again, they hung with Michigan at the line of scrimmage. So you see stuff like that. I watch a ton of college football. I've got the TV set up. I'll be sitting here for the next 14 hours watching college football.
It's going to be a great day. It really is, Teddy. What do you think of Houston steamrolling over Colorado? They were only a 4-point favorite. They won that one by 16, 36-20.
Sure, they probably should have won it by more. Houston's inability, they only punted once in that game. All right. And they kept on getting shut down in the red zone and settling for field goals, settling for field goals, settling for field goals. When you punt, Colorado was in position to get beat. There's a reason that we had the Cougs. And again, when you have teams that have played twice at home, you put a QB in his first career start on the highway against a decent defense. I'm not shocked at all by the result. I bet on the result of that game, but it wasn't a game where afterwards I'm like, wow, the Cougars are bet on all the way. No, it was just a good spot to go against Colorado, and it played out that way. Houston, not necessarily a bet on team for me moving forward. They're not, I didn't see anything last night that was red flag for the Cougars, but there wasn't, I didn't come out of that game going, this team is way undervalued. We got to bet on the Cougs every week. Not that there won't be options, but it wasn't that conclusion for me. It was more Colorado bad, as much Colorado bad as it was Houston good.
Absolutely. So have you seen a team that's just a total red flag to you where it's like, I'm staying off them for the next couple of weeks till they get everything together?
So I didn't play Wake the other night because I had Wake week one. And I'm like, this team's not at all what I thought they were going to be. I probably should have bet against them. They had the, kick return touchdown, a non-offensive touchdown in any sport, in any, whether it's NFL or college, those are tough to overcome ATS.
Yeah.
And Wake opens the game with a kick return touchdown, and it didn't matter what they scored. They scored 17 the rest of the way, but NC State certainly controlled the second half of that flow. So the Demon Deacons are a team that I learned the hard way early that they weren't what I thought they were, and that certainly nothing's changed that opinion after this past the games on Thursday night.
Yeah, so people are saying Wake didn't even score in that second half of that game. Definitely some red flags out there. What are your thoughts today on Miami?
So it's a classic sharp square divide game. All right. All the pros are on Miami. All the Joes are on USF. USF looks so good. I mean, obviously you beat Boise and then you beat Florida. You're doing something right. You talk about the mentality of a program of that caliber. It's not like USF's a bottom feeder. This isn't Kennesaw State. You guys are talking about Kennesaw State. USF's, a quality group of five squad. All right. They're not near the bottom of college football. But when you beat Florida one week, the celebrations are pretty strong. The focus level at practice is something of a concern. Mm-hmm. When you're going to Miami and Miami's lying in wait, and Miami says, oh, they beat Boise, oh, they beat Florida, hey, we better take this team seriously. One would expect the Hurricanes to be able to control this one. Now, did I bet it? I did not. One of the events, I've lived in Las Vegas since 1998. We got here for the 1998 football season. I went back the next summer, sold my house, and brought all my stuff. I'm like, yeah, that'll work for me. And one of the lessons that I've learned over the years is sometimes you tap the brakes on some of these teams that have pulled off a couple of big upsets, but you're not necessarily going to fade them. It's not like, all right, I'm going to lay it with Miami here. Oh, I'm convinced I'm not convinced Miami's 17.5 points better than USF. Nothing I've seen with my eyes tells me Miami's 17.5 points better than USF. So spot-wise, I can't get there with the dog. I know a lot of my colleagues like the favorite in this game. For me, I'm not playing it. It's a pass for me because I've seen teams like USF, even in these spots, cash enough tickets over the years that I'm not in a rush to step in front of.
Yeah, we are hearing those comments. Just no trust in Carson Beck there for Miami. Let's talk 3:30 Eastern matchup between Georgia and Tennessee. Now, this one did open. It's Georgia 6.5 point favorite rolling into Tennessee. We did see that movement in the lines dropping down to 3.5. There are 4.5s out there for Georgia as well. And this total did go from 49.5 up to 50.5 on some books. Where are you looking with this one? This is going to be a big game to see if Georgia's defense can shut down Tennessee, and they've been able to do so in the past, Teddy. We know that. I don't think Tennessee's ever scored more than 17 points versus them.
Well, ever is a mighty long time, but not in any recent meeting. I mean, look at the numbers. 31-17, 38-10, 27-13, 41-17, 44-21, 43-14, 38-12, 41-0. That's not just 8 straight wins for Georgia. That's 8 straight double-digit wins, 8 straight by 2 touchdowns or more. The only spread that Tennessee's covered during this 8-year span was when they were plus 30.5 and a 26-point loss back in 2018. And this ain't no 30.5 right here. One of the things I'm looking for early season college football, team that's been lousy against the spread against a team that's been good against the spread. Georgia, 0-2 ATS. The offense hasn't clicked. You know, they didn't cover, 45.5 against Austin Peay. They didn't cover 38.5 against Marshall. They only scored 28 points in one of the two, you know. Meanwhile, Tennessee's 2-0 against the spread, 2-0 to the over. So in this type of spot, a priori, all right, we have a completely one-sided series. We have the team that's lost all those meetings looking good in early season. They covered all the numbers. We have the team that's dominated this series. They haven't covered the numbers so far. Where's the value lie? The value lies with the team that hasn't covered the numbers but has dominated the series. Why is this year different? Again, look at Tennessee versus everybody else. Tennessee averages averages 39 points a game against everybody and 14 points a game against Georgia. And the offense is 150 yards worth. And obviously, Georgia is the national championship contender every year. All right. And Tennessee has a dominant advantage at Neyland. You know, they're 23-1, their last 24. Of course, the one was Georgia. But for me to be convinced that this year's going to be different, I got to believe in Tennessee more than I do. I got questions about the receiving core. I got questions about Aguilar against a good defense. It's Georgia or pass for this better. History does tell us something, and the value is there for a team that hasn't covered numbers yet this year, but covered numbers against this particular opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially only laying the 3.5. I think they should be able to win that one by a touchdown. I'm with you, Teddy. It is for me as well, them or pass. What do you think on the total here? We're seeing people jumping in. First half total 26, looking fishy. Might be an under a style game. Are you seeing anything that you're liking on those totals?
So this whole fishy number thing that's going around right now, again, when you live in Vegas and you understand how point spreads are made and how totals are made, none of these look fishy. All right. It's team A's, total rating and team B's total rating. And then you mix and mash them together. And this is what you get. The pace of play is in a piece of the equation. The full game total is sitting here 50.5. And I talked about the struggles that Tennessee has had offensively against Georgia. Tennessee correlates with over in this game. Georgia correlates with under. I'm leaning to the Georgia side, therefore I'm leaning to the underside. Plain and simple. Right? If I thought the Vols could light up the scoreboard, it'd be Tennessee and over. I don't. Therefore, it's Georgia and under. But fishy, the number's right where it's supposed to be.
Okay.
What makes you think it's fishy?
I don't know. I love that you're just coming out with that. So people talked about fishy. What about a trap? We saw in the comments saying Clemson, why only a 2.5, 3-point favorite? It feels like a trap here versus Georgia Tech. Do you feel that way, Teddy?
No. Okay. So again, why is this line where it is right now? Line open 6.5, Clemson. All right. The bettors have pushed it down. Why have they pushed it down? Well, there's concerns about Clemson, who didn't look great in the opener against LSU and didn't look great last week against Troy. That was a game that they trailed 16-0. Ended up winning 27-16. I watched most of that game, and I thought Clemson, they got punched in the mouth and they responded appropriately. And it was a clear flat spot off the LSU loss. You can make a case that it's a very understandable sluggish showing for Clemson. That being said, it's not like their offense has clicked this year. And Georgia Tech, despite all those turnovers, we know what they did in week one, going out to Boulder and just running all over. I mean, they had 3 turnovers in the first quarter and still did whatever they wanted in that contest against Colorado. And it's a Georgia Tech team that a lot of people have them circled as this year's sleeper in the ACC. I heard that all offseason. Watch out for Georgia Tech. They played well thus far. So I'm not surprising Georgia Tech. I'm not surprised at all Georgia Tech's taking the money, especially with Clemson injury. Clemson's going to be missing 3 starters today.
Yeah.
That said, much like the Georgia-Tennessee game we just talked about, it's been a very one-sided series. Georgia Tech's got to show me they can beat Clemson before I'll believe it.
Yeah, and you got to wonder with Heinz King here how mobile he's going to be able to be in this game. Is there any games that you're looking at? It's just the favorite to cover all of the points. It was a game that you looked at that you're just like, okay, got to go there. They're just playing an opponent that you can't trust.
So, I mean, maybe Texas Tech against Oregon State. Oregon State's a team I don't trust at all. Not even a little bit. And Texas Tech's a team that when they get rolling, they're going to keep rolling. So that's a game I want no part of the dog. Laying 23.5, 24 there to be Texas Tech or pass. The Red Raiders. They have their fair share of explosiveness, and it's a long way from home for the Beavers and the wrong weather conditions for them as well. So I would not be surprised at all if they wear down after halftime. So that's one.
Okay. Anyone barking? You got anyone winning this one straight up that's an underdog today, Teddy?
I'm sure there's going to be.
There's got to be a big upset today, right?
There's always a big upset.
Saturday without an upset.
I mean, look, the Vandy South Carolina game is a lot of times the steam comes on the dog, and I'm like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Vandy can beat South Carolina. All right. What Vandy's done this year. All right. There's 3 things that stand out. Obviously, the quarterback plays there, but their receivers. Vandy's got receivers this year. They got playmakers. They got guys that can catch, and they're beating up on teams at the line of scrimmage. That's not a big dog, Vandy, but they've taken every bit of sharp money. And one of the things that you pay attention to, Gianni talks about it. All right, this team got bet at 7. Are they getting bet at 6? Oh wow, they're getting bet at 6 too. All right, that tells us that it's the team. We bet pros bet the numbers and Joe's bet teams, but that tells us that pros are interested in the team in this spot. And with Vandy, they got bet down to 4, 4.5. Let's take those out too. 3.5. Let's take those out too. So there's been enough sharp money supporting the Commodores here at different numbers. I do think this isn't one of those games where I'm like looking to fade the steam. It's Vandy or pass, and I think they can hang very tough. And right now, maybe the best value is on the money line if you like the Commodores.
Yeah, we've seen that money line floating around. It was as high as plus 170, actually plus 180 on the 9th. We're now seeing it plus 126 kind of area for Vandy straight up on the money line, as that spread did move from 5.5 for South Carolina at home down to 3s. There is a 2.5 out there as well. So lots of love coming in here on Vandy, and I'm with you. I'd take Vandy straight up on the money line or pass on that one. Anything else, Teddy, you've got for us today?
I don't know. I mean, so I got a ton of free plays on YouTube. I got a ton of plays on my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. Just visit wagertalk.com. There's literally free play video. So there's all kinds of opinions about games. And it's not just me. I know there are many sites out there that have more free plays than we do and more free play videos. That's why you subscribe. That's why you hit the like button because you get all this type of analysis. And of course, WagerTalk TV on YouTube. So I got a 3-play card for today. So far, we may add a little bit more before all said and done. Still working MLB for today, and obviously locked and loaded with a 5% big ticket in NFL action for tomorrow. So number 1 all time, WagerTalk NFL 5% big tickets. Check it out. Again, wt.buzz/TC. And we got these great deals. We got a short-term deal, the weekend package, $49. We have a month-long deal. Which is very reasonably priced. And I always encourage people, don't buy a play, buy a package. And then we have like this every play, like 3 months and then get a month free. I mean, 3 really good deals if you want short-term, medium-term, long-term. Check it out. My page and all the Cappers pages at wagertalk.com.
Okay, so the Weekend Warrior pack is just $49 for your college football and NFL plays this weekend. How many picks are people getting for that, Teddy?
And MLB. So right now, my card is relatively short. Okay, right now I have a grand total of 4 plays. I'm likely to add more over the course of the next 24 hours. But the only play I posted in the NFL this week so far is my 5% big ticket. We've been patiently waiting for lines to get where I want them to, And I expect them to get there at some point today. So we'll be adding to that card right over the course of the next 24 hours. And I do expect to be involved on Monday night as well. That's another one where I'm waiting for the number to move where I hope it's going to move. We might be involved in both Monday night games, to be honest. So, yes, you'll get plenty of action, but not a ridiculous. I mean, some guys, Gianni, you got to be ready to fire 20 plays. I'm never going to put out 20 plays. It's just not how I work. So the action will be reasonable as opposed to there are people that want that action. I get it. Then Gianni's the right guy for you. If you're looking for fewer plays, I might be the right guy for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Teddy, I want to thank you so much for joining us here for college football talk on the last call. Absolutely dominate the books this weekend. And best of luck in your 5% play tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate it. Pleasure working with you.
Absolutely.
And good luck to all you guys out there in viewerland. Cheers.
Thank you, Teddy. Okay, guys, go over and give Teddy Covers a follow at Teddy_Covers on all social media. And make sure you do go over and check him out on WagerTalk.com. He mentioned that Weekend Warrior package. You guys don't want to miss out on that. We have so many fantastic games today, and I hope we were able to come at you with some bets that you're looking to get in on before these games kick off. It's going to be an absolutely loaded slate. Great day. If you're liking any underdogs, make sure you do comment under this video. Bragging rights are on the line, you guys. You want to make sure you get those out into public view. So if they do win, you can brag about it, because there's nothing worse than someone bragging about something they didn't talk about. So let's hear those bragging bets that you're going to put in today if you're liking anyone in the NFL tomorrow as well. But again, you guys, tomorrow, last call, you'll see Ariel sitting here. And then afterwards, you want to check out Gianni The Greek with his bet with Ace, the Steam Room. You want to follow that up. That's at noon Eastern. So you guys, thanks so much for joining me here on Last Call. Until next time, stay hot and let's make some freaking money.